Close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath and allow your mind to drift gently back through time. Imagine a world untouched by modern cities. A land stretching endlessly beneath the open sky. Forests whisper softly in the wind. Rivers move quietly through the valleys, and the earth feels calm and alive beneath your feet. Long before borders, before highways, before the sound of machines filled the air. This land was home to millions of people. They lived here for thousands of years, building societies, raising families, and passing down stories from one generation to the next. Their history is older than many realize, deeper than most books explain, and carried gently in the memories of the land itself. This is the real story, a story of life, balance, strength, and survival. Imagine the first light of morning spreading slowly across the horizon. A soft golden glow touches the tops of tall trees. Mist rises from a quiet river. In a nearby village, people begin to wake. Fires are carefully lit, and the scent of wood smoke drifts into the cool air. Children sit beside their mothers and fathers, listening quietly. Elders speak in calm voices, sharing stories that have been told for generations. These are not just stories for entertainment, they are lessons. They teach respect, patience, courage, and kindness. For native communities, the land was never just land. It was part of life itself. The mountains were sacred. The rivers were living paths. The animals were treated with respect, as if they were part of the same family. In the great forests of the east, villages stood among tall trees that seemed to touch the sky. People built homes from wood and bark, strong and warm against the cold winters. They farmed the land carefully, growing corn, beans, and squash together. These crops were known as the Three Sisters, and they helped feed entire communities. In the wide plains, life moved with the seasons. People followed the great herds across the open land. The sound of wind rolling through the tall grass was constant, gentle, and endless. At night, under the vast sky, fires flickered as families gathered to share food and stories. In the deserts of the Southwest, people learned to live with the heat and the dryness. They built homes from earth and stone. They created systems to bring water to their crops, turning dry land into places where life could grow. Far to the north, where winters were long and cold, communities learned to survive in icy lands. They built warm shelters and hunted carefully, respecting every animal they depended on. There was no single culture, no single way of life. There were hundreds of nations, each with its own language, traditions, and beliefs. Trade routes stretched across the land, connecting people from distant places. Shells from the ocean could be found far inland. Stones from the mountains were traded across great distances. Time moved slowly, gently, like the flow of a river. Years turned into generations. Generations turned into centuries, and the people lived in balance with the world around them. At night, the sky was full of stars, brighter than anything we see today. Elders would point upward and tell stories about the stars, about the beginning of life, about the lessons hidden in the sky. Children listened closely, their eyes wide, their hearts calm. These moments were important. This was how knowledge was passed down. Not through books, but through voices, memories, and stories carried from one heart to another. Then slowly, the world began to change. Strangers arrived from across the ocean. At first, they were few. Their ships appeared like distant shapes on the water. Some meetings were peaceful. People exchanged goods. They shared food. They tried to understand each other. But with time, more ships came, more people arrived. And with them came new ways of living, new tools, and new ideas. The balance that had lasted for thousands of years began to shift. Along with the newcomers came diseases that no one had ever known. Illness spread quietly through villages. Families grew weak, communities became silent. It was a time of fear and confusion. Even then, people held on to their traditions. They continued to tell stories. They continued to sing songs. They continued to teach their children the ways of their ancestors. But the changes kept coming. Land that had always been shared and respected was slowly taken. Villages were forced to move. Paths that had been walked for generations were left behind. Families were separated. Entire communities were pushed far from the places they once called home. The journey was not easy. There were long walks through unfamiliar lands, cold nights, hungry days. Yet even in those moments, people stayed together. They helped one another. They carried the old stories with them like a small fire that refused to go out. Through every hardship, the spirit of the people remained strong. In quiet corners of the land, languages were still spoken softly. Songs were still sung. Elders still gathered children close and whispered stories about who they were and where they came from. Because they knew something important. As long as the stories were remembered, the people would never truly disappear. Years passed, then many more years. The world grew louder and faster. Cities were built. Roads covered the land. New generations grew up in a very different world. But the old traditions did not vanish. Today, many native communities continue to honor their ancestors. They still hold ceremonies, they still tell the old stories, they still speak the languages that have been carried through time. If you listen carefully, you can still feel their presence in the land, in the sound of a river flowing gently over stones, in the wind moving through the trees, in the quiet strength of mountains standing tall. This history is not just about the past, it is about survival. It is about people who protected their identity through the hardest times. It is about courage that lasted through centuries. Now imagine sitting beside a small fire at night. The air is cool. The stars stretch endlessly above you. The world feels quiet and peaceful. An elder sits nearby, speaking slowly, gently. Their voice is calm and steady. Each word carries the weight of generations. You feel safe, you feel still. The fire crackles softly. The night grows deeper. And the story continues. It lives in the land. It lives in the voices of those who remember. It lives in every song, every prayer, every quiet moment of reflection. Take another slow breath. Feel the calm of the night. Feel the stillness of the earth. Let your thoughts drift gently, like leaves floating on a quiet river. The past is not gone. It rests quietly all around, carried by the wind, held in the soil, remembered in the hearts of those who continue to honor it. And as your mind grows heavier and your breathing becomes slow and steady, let the story fade softly into the distance. The fire burns low. The stars shine quietly above. The night wraps around you like a warm blanket. And somewhere, carried on the gentle wind, the voices of the past continue to whisper, guiding you peacefully into rest.